Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced plans to travel to China this weekend. The cities to be visited include Shanghai, Beijing, and Chengdu. The visit is expected to center around strengthening bilateral ties, particularly in emerging sectors such as artificial intelligence, green energy, and the digital economy. The trip coincides with the upcoming 10th anniversary of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement (CAFTA), which came into effect in December 2015. With this milestone approaching, Chinese officials are signaling interest in updating the agreement to reflect evolving economic priorities. Among the proposals is a deeper focus on innovation and digital collaboration. In a recent article for the Australian Financial Review, China's ambassador to Australia, Ziqian, emphasized the need to modernize the trade pact. He suggested expanding cooperation beyond traditional industries like mining and agriculture to include high-growth fields such as AI, healthcare, and digital technologies. Both China and Australia are pursuing new economic goals, China through high-quality development and Australia by improving productivity. Xi wrote, "We see an opportunity to elevate our partnership to new heights." Accompanying the Prime Minister will be a delegation of prominent Australian business leaders, underlining the commercial focus of the visit. This marks Albanese's second visit to China as Prime Minister and reflects a steady improvement in the bilateral relationship following a period of tension in recent years. This diplomatic engagement comes at a time when Beijing is seeking to solidify economic alliances, partly in response to shifting global dynamics and trade tensions with the United States. Albanese's upcoming meetings with President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang will likely touch on mutual trade interests as well as broader regional issues. The United States and China have revived a trade truce originally reached last month, following 2 days of intense negotiations in London. US President Donald Trump announced that the agreement is done and only needs final approval from both countries' leaders. Trump revealed details of the deal on his Truth social account. He said that China would supply rare earth materials, including full magnets, upfront. In return, the US would fulfill its part of the agreement, which includes allowing Chinese students to continue studying at American colleges and universities, something Trump expressed support for. As part of the agreement, the US will raise tariffs on Chinese goods to 55%, up from the previous 30%. This 55% total includes 3 parts: a 10% base tariff on nearly all imports, an additional 20% on all Chinese imports, and a 25% tariff already in place from Trump's earlier term. While countries like China, the UK, and Vietnam have secured deals that ease some tariffs, most of Trump's trade duties remain unchanged. However, the latest US-China agreement offers some relief, cutting tariffs that once reached 145% on Chinese goods and 125% on US exports. As part of the updated agreement, the US dropped tariffs on Chinese goods to 30%, and China reduced its duties on American goods to 10%. China also agreed to boost its exports of rare earth elements, which are critical for high-tech industries. Earlier this year, China proposed that Australia join them in pushing back against US trade measures. This came after the Trump administration also imposed a 10% tax on Australian imports, while hitting Chinese goods with even steeper tariffs of 125%. However, Australia rejected the idea of teaming up with China. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said Australia would make its own decisions and act in its national interest. Defence Minister Richard Marles added that Australia is focused on building broader trade ties, not choosing sides in the US-China trade dispute. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's upcoming visit to China highlights a push to strengthen economic ties, especially in AI, green energy, and digital trade. The trip comes as China proposes updates to its trade deal with Australia amid rising tensions with the US. Notably, Australia declined China's call to unite against US tariffs, emphasizing its independence and focus on diversifying trade. As Prime Minister Albanese prepares to meet with China's President Xi Jinping, a key political question arises: could this diplomatic shift strain Australia's ties with the US? With China as Australia's largest trading partner and the US in fourth place, high-level trade talks in Beijing may raise eyebrows in Washington. As Australia balances relations between two global powers, one has to ask, will deepening ties with China come at the expense of trust or future trade with the United States? Stay sharp, stay safe with Global Pulse Unplugged.